Hello and welcome to the video on scientific notation. Scientific notation is just a way of representing a number so that it's more efficient. So instead of having a lot of zeros for a big number or a lot of decimal places for a tiny number, you can put it into your calculator easier and you can write it down more easily. It takes the format of M, where M is a number between 1 and 10. It can be equal to 1, but it can't be equal to 10. And N is an integer because you're going to have a power of 10. It's like exponential notation in math class, but it's not exactly the same because M must be between 1 and 10 and not equal to 10. So today what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to put numbers into scientific notation and take them out of scientific notation. When you're in class, we will learn how to put them into our own calculator. So if you have a very large number like 406,700, that has a lot of zeros. It's not as big as some numbers could be, but we need to be able to put this into scientific notation. So the first thing we have to be able to do is to find the decimal place. The decimal point is going to be right here. It's understood, and we have to make this number between 1 and 10. In order to make it between 1 and 10, we're going to move the decimal, making a smaller number. So if I move it to here, that's going to be 40,670. If I move it here and stop, that would be 4,067. If I moved it here, that would be 406.7. 40.6, I'm getting closer to 10. And if I move it one more place, I now have a number between 1 and 10. Now I have to figure out the power of 10 to put behind that. This is the number of times I moved the decimal place. So I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So that becomes a power of 5. And what this means is if I take 4.067 and I multiply it by 10 and I multiply it by 10 and I multiply it by 10 and multiply it by 5 times, I would get back to my original number of 406,700. The same thing can be done with a small number. This is 0.00617, much smaller than 1. I want to make this number between 1 and 10. I'm going to do that by moving the decimal point again. If I move it one time, that would be 0.0617. If I move it again, that's 0.617, which is almost 1, but not quite. If I move it one more place, now I have a number between 1 and 10. And once again, I have to choose a power of 10 that will make the two numbers equal. It's the number of times I move the decimal point. So I've moved it 1, 2, 3 times. And then to show that this is a tiny number to start out with, that's how you get a negative integer. 10 to the negative 1 power is the same thing as 1/10. So when I take the original, or I take the number in scientific notation and multiply by a tenth and multiply by a tenth and multiply it by a tenth 3 times, just like there's a 3 here, if I take this number, divide by 10 3 times, I get the original number that I started out with. And that's how we take numbers that are large or small and put them into scientific notation. To do the opposite, if we have numbers that are already in scientific notation and we want to put them into whole number or decimal form, we just do the opposite. So this is 6.37 times 10 to the 4th. That means 6.37 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which you could take the time to do that on your calculator if you wanted to, or you could just know that this means this is a fairly large number by having the positive decimal or the positive integer here and move it 4 times, making it bigger by 4 place values. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then fill in with zeros. So 6.37 times 10 to the 4th is the same thing as 63,700. And that's how you go from scientific notation to a larger number when you have a positive exponent. When you have a negative exponent, that means that this number is going to get smaller by this many place values. So this is going to get smaller by 2. Once again, move the decimal. If I move it one place and then I move it a second place, I'm going to get the number 0.0214. This is the same as this. It became smaller by 2 place values. And that's how you go from scientific notation to decimals or whole numbers.